Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of people, they just don't know what's possible. They don't know that there's people out there doing all sorts of different jobs. There's probably a lot of people that wouldn't think presenting a radio programme is possible if you can't see very well. So, I think there's...
and if people have listened to me, they'd know it's impossible as well.
So I think it's encouraging people to think a little bit beyond the kind of traditional roles. I think very much in the past, blind and partially sighted people were herded towards the kind of telephony or typing roles. Those
audio typing.
Exactly. Having done a life sentence at a bank as a telephonist for 9 years, I think I could have got less for murder. I'm quite pleased about that. But I think, unfortunately, it's meant that people have to use their imaginations, and that's quite hard. It's easier in a way if the decision's made for you. Now, technology has opened up so many more jobs for people. It's almost like you have too much choice. And it's the kind of, you go into the sweet shop and you're surrounded by sweets and you pick the one you have every time because it's the one that you know. And I think sometimes it's difficult when you have this much choice.
I mean, in your case, Stephen, you've got a job, but you've also got quite an involved hobby, haven't you, which is the Hybropsyche project, to use it. I mean, are you hoping that eventually you might be able to make enough out of the music side of it to eventually not do a proper job?
Yes.
Or
in a nutshell, I suppose. The most decisive answer you'd ever get from me. But, yes, I do. It's one of those things. As much with that kind of thing, luckily I've got the day job, so that I can keep this on the sidelines, declaring it like a good little person to the Inland Revenue, of course.
Yeah, sure.
With a view one day, hopefully, that my stuff will get used, and like I say, make enough money about it, so do something at the end more rewarding.
Yeah.
How long have you been working then, and how long have you had sight issues?
Well, I was born. I've got RP as well, so I was born with RP.
See.
So I was. I've been working since January '92. And I think it's going back to a little bit what you were saying before about education and things. I did actually go to RNC in Hereford. And if I could have my time over again, I'd have gone to university as well.
Yeah.
I definitely,
I must admit, I enjoyed university. It's probably the best thing I did when I first left Cadbury's. Went straight onto a university course in communication studies and had a fantastic 3 years. Great.
Do you read Braille then?
No, I did learn it when I were at college in preparation. Well, it was sort of a slight miscalculation of the optician told me that my sight had got worse, and it was simple. I'd stopped wearing my glasses because I didn't like them. So I ended up getting another year at college, and I did GCSE music was one of the things I did, but I did Braille then.
Did you go to mainstream school then, or
mainly?
Mainly.
I did about 5 years in Sandalwood School in Doncaster whilst I was growing up. But the difference then, as people of our sort of moderate ages, there was little or no assistive technology. When I was in sort of like primary school, infants and primary school, there was none. It was just a case of sitting near a blackboard with a teacher and then going into the special school, as the terms were. There was obviously more assistive technology. There was CCTVs and magnifiers and what have you. And then I went back to comprehensive school in '85 and started. There was some assistive technology. There wasn't a lot. Well, again, it was just magnifiers and large print photocopiers. That was the sort of stuff that was about then. So, I mean, I could probably cover this later. This is kind of a I'm plugging myself a bit now, but this is kind of why I've used the term Hybropsyche to describe me musically and what have you, because it's the term the psyche of a hybrid. Because I sort of think of myself that way because I have been mainstream, but I've had sort of in the for want of a better expression, in the more institutionalised existence as well.
So you've had a foot in both camps,
that's
so
the
to
word.
speak.
I think it's probably made me less decisive in some ways, but it's also because I've seen both sides and I've lived in both extremities. Maybe that's the word. I think it's just made me think. I don't know, just just made me more of a hybrid in my thoughts and the way I approach things, the way I think of life.
I mean, you're a bit like that, aren't you, Mark? You've been at residential college or whatever.
College. I've done both college and further education and school education in both areas as well.
Yeah, and it's.
So
I've quite some views about it that which go down there.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do, I've noticed we're coming up to the top of the hour now.
Yeah.
Amazingly, it's amazing how time flies on this show. We're going to have, I think we'll play your first track actually, Stephen, and then after that we're going to have a word from one or two other shows who would like to promote themselves, and then after that we'll come back and have a chat a little bit more about Hybropsyche.
This is your music.
Yep, this is one of Stephen's bits, and you do pretty much everything on this apart from drums. Is that the case?
Yeah, and I've got an engineer, Signaloscopy.
Right, go for it, Nicky.
So many people, so many places, dreams come to life in different spaces. They all look cool, but you feel empty. They make the rules that keep you cornered. Well, I tell you something now. You don't need to be a bigot. You don't need to have a spoiler.